So whenever you first come into Plottr, you're going to see any of your old recent projects, and you have some basic options at the top. You can create a blank one, open an existing, use a template, or if you're using the Snowflake method and you're using their software, you can actually import yours directly from Snowflake Pro. So I'm going to show you the templates real fast because there are a number of templates that you can come in here. There's the 12 chapter mystery formula. There's 7-point plots, the 8 sequences method, action and adventure, the hero's journey. There's the romance beat sheet. There's also romancing the beat. And then of course there's like 7 romantic comedy beats, battle manga formula, 6 stage plots. Again, there's a Snowflake story circle and take off your pants. So there's a lot of different pre-existing templates. I'm going to go ahead and create a blank one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by setting this up. And again, I want to make sure, as I'm going to come back over here to Jamie Gold's, as I want to make sure that it's going to align right here with this simple 3-act structure. So, oops, I'm going to come back in here to my Plottr. There it is. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to work on the project part. So I'm going to come over here and click on project. Now, the actual title of this, because I already know the title of this is going to be called The Farmer and the Dale. I actually won this cover, and I'll actually show it to you here in just a second. And it's actually kind of cool that I won the cover, and because I won the cover, I actually ended up wanting to write this actual novel. So it wasn't something I necessarily set out to write. Genre is going to be romance. The basic premise of this is going to be a hate to love trope, for those of you who are familiar with the tropes and romantic fiction. Theme I haven't completely established yet, but I am going to go ahead and I'm going to click save on this, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on save as, and I am going to find where I'm going to save this on my desktop. And I actually have a place down here for short stories, and there it is. I already have the folder ready. There it is, The Farmer and the Dale, and I'm going to put this in there, The Farmer and the Dale, which is right there. Okay, so now I'm actually going to have the official, oops, I'm going to exit without closing. So there it is, the official Farmer and the Dale Plottr. So I am going to go ahead and upload the cover, because again, I always like the fact that I can put the cover right there. And when you come up here, oh, let me show you that again. When you click on the books, this is also great if you're going to have multiple series or multiple books in a series. You can plot all of those using one thing here in Plottr, which makes it really easy. And I'll show you an example of a multi-series Plottr later in this lesson. So I'm going to click right here. You'll see that you can either edit the title or you can put the picture. I always like the picture. And I'm going to click on the upload file. All that means is you're going to find the file on your desktop. And here it is. There is the Farmer and the Dale cover. And I click on it. You're going to see there is the Farmer and the Dale. And I'm just going to click choose. And you'll notice that now in my projects that cover is automatically right there. It just, again, I like it. It just kind of makes it look nice. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the next important thing. Always do a quick save because it's always good. So I'm now going to click on timeline. Now, one of the things we have here is we have a number of chapters, and sometimes we go into a book knowing how many chapters we're going to have. Sometimes we don't. For our purposes, I know this book is going to have 30 chapters. I want to explain why here in a second. So all I am doing, as you can see, is right after each chapter, I get a little square box with a plus, and I just keep clicking that, and it allows me to just keep adding chapters. So I'm just going to keep adding chapters and adding chapters. One thing it doesn't allow you to do at this point is it doesn't just let you like type in a number of chapters, which would be very useful and very helpful, but right now it doesn't let you do that. So you do kind of have to go through and add all of the chapters by hand. So I'm going to keep going through. I'm getting closer and closer to hitting 30. Almost there, 2 more to go. And now I have the 30 chapters that I want to have in this book. So you may be wondering, why am I using 30 chapters? That is a great question. If you're like me, anytime that I'm writing a book, I actually try to use an idea of a different book or a different story that exists out there. I try not to always reinvent the scene. And so one book that I actually really liked was this book that was one in the James Patterson's Love Shots or Book Shots Flames series. And the book shots, if you're not familiar with them, are basically novellas. And if you come down here and you look, it's only 27,445 words. So it's actually basically 110 pages. That is, again, that 12 point Times New Roman font. Again, this is good because I know that it's right at 30 chapters. And I think a 30 chapter is a really good book, even if it's short, because it's going to keep the pace moving. And so you're not going to try to overwrite a single chapter, which I have a really horrible tendency of doing. And so this is definitely going to make my life easier to force myself to think about that. So we have our main plot here. We're going to come back to that. But I also want to have a different plot line. And this is where I'm going to put in that, I'm going to type it in as Jamie Gold. And that way I know that these are the Jamie Gold plot line beats that I need to use. Now, there are templates that you could use. I'm going to click on that just to show you what they are. You have what's called a proactive scene. So if you have your goal, your conflict, setback, you can have a reactive scene, or you can just have what's called your scene essentials. Like, it'll tell you, like, well, who's the point of view? What's the time period? What's your hook? What's the purpose? Conflict, climax, character goals, character development, sensory detail, etc. For my purposes, though, I just want to go ahead and, click on the right one. I'm going to go ahead and label this as those basic beats that I know that I need to have when I'm using Jamie's formula. So I'm going to click those. And so what you see here is I'm just clicking on that plus sign and it gives me that little chapter scene title. And so I'm coming into the Excel file. I'm just copying and pasting. And right now I'm just aligning them. Eventually these will not be perfectly aligned. But I'm just showing you this right now as I'm going through and figuring this stuff out. So then we know that we're going to get to the point where we're going to have the midpoint. And then what's after midpoint is pitch point number 2. So I'm going to come in here, pitch point number 2. Then we're going to get to the crisis point. Now, if you haven't actually read a lot on Jamie's website, she does have a great course where she will take you through this, and you can actually purchase that course right through her website. And again, I'm not an affiliate on her website, but I just, thought it was a good course and thought I would go ahead and share that exists. And our last one is that final image or resolution. And there it is. So these are the 8 points that she says you need to have in a good romance novel, which is great. Now, obviously, they're not going to perfectly align with the chapters, which is one of the nice things about this is I can take these and I can put them under any chapter I want. So I know that final image or resolution is probably going to happen. I'm going to say at the absolute latest is going to be chapter 29-ish, and that gives me also a nice denouement chapter for chapter 30. It's also possible that would be chapter 30 itself. But notice all I've done is I've taken that little box and I've dragged it to where I want it to align. So I know that when I get to chapter 30, this is about where I'm going to be as far as the plot is concerned. So this gives us our basic alignment, and with this course, you're actually going to have a link that you can actually download this Plottr template. So go ahead if you haven't done so. It's going to have all of the 8 Jamie Gold things in here along with my 30 chapters set up. So go ahead if you haven't done that and get that downloaded. And when we get into the next video, we'll start talking more about the plot itself.